G'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to this NBA 2K26 Play Now Online series. In today's episode, I was going to try to talk about the Portland Trail Blazers, but as you'll see here shortly, I unfortunately did not get to use them as my opponent basically quit in the matchmaking. And this is obviously a game I played quite a while ago as it was still Season 1. And you see there we're currently undefeated. I was looking forward to using Dame and Drew in the backcourt to take on Cade and Jaden Ivey. But unfortunately that wasn't the case. Now I'll be going up against the team who I actually used last episode, so go check out that if you want to see. As you see the results there, Spurs. So I will be taking on the Spurs, and I'll be using the Phoenix Suns, who are still a tier 1 team in Season 1. I think they finally updated the boards and the tiers because the Suns are now a tier 3 team, which is where they should be. They definitely shouldn't be tier 1. You could maybe make a case for tier 2, but I think tier 3, and that's where they'll be. But Phoenix obviously had a very, very disappointing season last year. Obviously, if you've checked out my previous videos, you probably know I'm not a big KD fan, so I think it was basically derailed by him. He's not a good leader, and honestly, Phoenix are going to be better off without him. Obviously not record-wise this season. I don't think they'll win that many games, but I think they've picked a direction, not that they really had any choice over the matter. They got forced into the direction by KD asking out and finally getting rid of Bradley Beal, although I think they just bought him out in the end. But they've got a few decent players who I like, and they're basically just Devin Booker and a bunch of 3-and-D guys, which isn't going to do anything at the moment, but in the future, who knows what can happen. It can change all very quick. I mean, just look a couple years ago, they had KD, Devin Booker, and they brought in Bradley Beal, and now they only have Devin Booker remaining. But yeah, they got a youngster in Malawatch, is I think how you pronounce his name, and he's actually huge. I think he's listed 7'2" or 7'3", and it's funny because I think the comparisons I've heard is that he's a bit like DeAndre Ayton, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully he doesn't have the mentality and softness of DeAndre Ayton anyway, but Jalen Green paired with Devin Booker, so not much defense going to be playing on that backcourt, I don't imagine. But I think Jalen Green's been out injured the whole season so far. But with the likes of Dylan Brooks and like Royce O'Neal, some good tough 3-and-D players, they can try to build themselves an identity. And I think just the facts that they've got some really players, some really solid defensive players that are really going to try hard, like Ryan Dunn as well, could really help them stay in some of these games and probably win a few more games than what's predicted, although it really just depends on Devin Booker's health, because offensively they only really have Devin Booker to create, as well as Jalen Green, I guess, but we'll see when he comes back. But let me know what you guys think down below. Are Phoenix going to be heard from at all this season, or are they just going to fade into the dark? Because I'm not even sure what their draft pick situation is. I probably should have done some research on that beforehand, but 2K wise, I actually quite enjoyed using them. As you see, we're up early here on the Spurs as we kick it to Dylan Brooks, who's money again, although this was when shooting was, I think, a fair bit easier. I think they might have made shooting a little bit harder, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, you see we're just playing zone, trying to force him to shoot, try to get him to show us, because if you don't know certain players' jump shots, it's hard to shoot with them. And Jalen Green, he's going to go into Mark Williams, got a mismatch, and I wasn't expecting the bar to go that quick, and we absolutely blow a layup. My opponent obviously going to use Wembanyama quite a bit, but Stephon Castle, pick and roll with Wemby. They give it back to him, and I can't do much more than that. I mean, I could have jumped, probably should have jumped, but 18% contest is actually decent, I feel like, especially in this game. But it just wasn't meant to be. But yeah, so if I had to predict Phoenix's record as they hit a beautiful fadeaway, but with D-Book, force him to call a timeout, I'd probably go 30-52. I'd like to give them a few more, but just because they're in the West, I think it's going to be very hard to get wins, and they're in a pretty tough division with the Lakers and Clippers and Warriors, all expected to are all hoping to have good seasons, and their over-unders are all like in the mid-40s, I believe. The only one you can see them possibly beating is the Sacramento Kings, who might be one of the most disgusting teams on paper anyway. Just a bunch of mid-range shooters who don't play defense, so that'll be interesting to see how they go this year. No offense there to Sacramento Kings fans, but I don't think you're in for a good year, unfortunately. And speaking of the Kings, the Spurs with De'Aaron Fox, definitely want to see how he goes with Wemby, because we didn't really get to see much of it, although I guess I don't really need to talk Spurs. They would have been the last vid. But let me know, you guys, on what you think the Suns will be. See the lineup we're rocking with here. Colin Gillespie. I know a little bit about him as he used to play for the Denver Nuggets, my team. And I don't think he should really be playing NBA minutes. I mean, I could see him getting like, 5 to 10, but I think they're going to be relying on him way too much to try to set up the offense, and I don't really think he plays any defense. He's pretty undersized, so he's going to have a hard time, but all the best to him, and I hope he does well, but I just don't think he's going to make the cut really when it's all said and done. But he gets a good dime there to Nick Richards, and it's just weird how Phoenix have a couple of the Charlotte ex-centers with Richards and Mark Williams. We thought he was going to the Lakers, obviously, but then that trade got rescinded after some weird medical stuff. Not too sure what was the go there. But really, Phoenix is just going to bomb threes like I do there with Royce O'Neal and just play some solid defense. Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal, and Dylan Brooks are good defensive players, as I said before, with the rim protection of Richards or Williams. That could be quite formidable. It's just going to depend on the offense, I think. With Devin Booker, how good is he going to play, and is he going to play the whole year? Because, believe it or not, he's been having some injury struggles recently. As you see there, my opponent makes a mid-range shot right on the buzzer there to really put a dagger into us there. But at the end of the first quarter, you see it's 29 to 19, so very, very high scoring. I mean, in previous vids, I think I've only hit the mid-40s as a team in the whole game, so we're on track for way more than that just in the first half. And my opponent's got Wembanyama to play defense with, so this Phoenix offense is really clicking at the moment. You see he runs a pick and roll there to Wemby and he gets the easy jam. Probably should start to, focus on 2K more and maybe some defense and some settings, but I just can't be bothered pausing every single game. I don't know why settings don't just save and that sort of stuff, but yeah, let me know if you guys want to try, if I should be taking this play now mode more seriously and try to, hit the GOAT League and all that, or should I just, use it to talk about certain teams in the NBA and just talk over topics and just use the team that I want to use. Let me know down below in the comments, and don't forget to drop a like, comment and subscribe on the videos. Really helps me out. And I do want to try to post more, just depends if I have the time and motivation, because sometimes it do be lacking, I'm not going to lie. But Jalen Green with a silly foul there on Wembanyama, so he gets the M1 right back. And I am going to try to, win a game with every single team. I want to get that little accolade where you win with all 30. It is 30, right? Pretty sure it's 30. All 30 NBA teams, so then that way I would have talked about every single one. And then I can go from there, maybe make award prediction type videos and stuff like that. As we make a tough layup there on Wembanyama, and my opponent was not happy there, called a timeout. You see the shot chart there, I think we were 14 for 17 and he was 12 for 17, so both teams are playing absolutely no defense. But I was just on one in this game and actually hitting my shots. As I was playing a bit of a 2-3 zone for quite a bit, just wanted to see if I could force my guy to shoot, because I was sick of Wembanyama getting open in the paint and just knocking down everything, as I leave him wide open for 3 there, but he misses that one. Don't actually know who that was. I think his name might have been Carter Bryant. Don't quote me on that though. But Dylan Brooks, get it back to Devin Booker. And Devin Booker was on one this game, let me tell you. I think he might have been the best, or one of the best players I've used, as I hit that beautiful step back J in Dylan Harper's face, the number 2 pick. I'm assuming that's why he rocks number 2. It'll be interesting to see how he goes, because he's had a great start to the year for San Antonio, but it's going to be interesting how many minutes and how often will he play once De'Aaron Fox comes back, because I don't think he's out for too much longer, but I don't actually know for sure. But Dylan Brooks fires a pass in there to Dunn. I kind of messed up that possession. I just dribble it straight into Wembanyama, who gets the steal, throws it up ahead, and he makes the layup. A little bit lucky there, didn't green the layup, but he got it to go. And we're still up by the 10 points, so still a bit of a cushion. And Devin Booker's just going to pull up there, not going to go inside and challenge Wembanyama. The defensive player of the year, as long as he stays healthy, you'd think. And honestly, he's got a shot to win MVP if they keep playing as well as they are in real life at the moment. He finally had a stinker, but that's just one game out of 82. As I thought I hit that 3 there with Jalen Green. And yes, I do still play with the shot beater on. Do not hate. I know I shouldn't play with it on, but I just feel like I need it, especially because my connection isn't the best, so I like to see what my timings are. As you see here, we get the steal with Booker to Green to Brooks. I see Dunn in the corner. I go in, find Williams, and I kind of messed up that possession, not gonna lie. So what I do, I go to D-Book. We make something happen. And I get the layup over Wembanyama again, and he's not happy. My opponent is calling timeouts. I barely ever use timeouts. In fact, I don't think I ever do, unless I need to late in the game. Or some energy, I guess. But I like to use the bench, you know. I don't cheese and use the starters the whole game. I do have manual subs on, I believe, but I normally just run starter lineup, bench lineup. Obviously, starters are going to play more, unless my bench is really cooking. But I don't think that was the case in this game, especially with Devin Booker not on the bench, because I don't see anyone else run on the offense like he does. Like that, and he finds another open player. I think that was that Goodwin or Royce? I think it was Goodwin. It was Goodwin, and Goodwin's got 8 points in this one, as De'Aaron Fox just runs by everyone and gets the jam. But yeah, we are getting to the end of this vid, guys. As you can see, we're only going to show the first half, and you'll see why shortly. We're up by 14. Pretty dominant display, especially with the team disparity. I think my opponent should be winning with the Spurs, not going to lie. The Spurs are a crazy team on 2K. I think in Season 2 they got put up to Tier 2, which is fair, although I did like using them as a Tier 3 team, because getting those maximum 3 points and using a fun team such as the Spurs winning is not too much of an issue compared to some of the other Tier 3 teams. As Devin Booker gets another and 1 to go. Only the 12 points out of the 47, so he's definitely been spreading the wealth and making some good plays. As De'Aaron Fox misses the layup there. It said he was open, so he should have made that one. And Devin Booker again, what's he going to do? He's going to go at De'Aaron Fox, goes by him and puts in the layup. And he's just padding his stats now, up by 19. We've just blown this game out. De'Aaron Fox is going to go straight inside and get the dunk again. Just poor defense by me. And that's why I've been playing a bit of a 2-3 zone, just to try to clog the paint a bit more. But Devin Booker to Goodwin. Back to Booker. What's he going to do? I think they're both Kentucky boys, if I'm not mistaken. He gets a huge jam. He's got his takeover. I'm not sure what takeover it is. I probably should have known that. De'Aaron Fox again. Kicks it out to Castle. Deep 2. We'll have to live with that. And with 10 seconds to go, we're going to hopefully take the last shot here, although maybe I'll just blow by. 4, 3, 2, 1, and I hit the mean step back. What a shot from D-Book. And my opponent was obviously frustrated. But we go up 19 into the half, and I'm going to skip ahead here in a moment. You see the stats there, ridiculous shooting. And we end up winning by 30 points and a big blowout. I guess I should give props to my opponent for not quitting, but it was a little bit frustrating, not going to lie. But got to practice my shooting, and I was very efficient in this game as we blew out my opponent. So that's another 3 points. Getting closer to the new leagues, but spoiler, I do not hit GOAT League in Season 1, left it a bit late. But thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you want to see down below in the comments, and let me know your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.